Alright, I have been told that I'm back live once again. So, yeah, this is the next game. Welcome to some sword-waving samurai action in the form of this game. Let's see, I might want to boost levels a little bit here. Okay, there we go. I had to make sure, because there was a volume difference between the SNES and Genesis in this case, so... Alright, I think we're good to go. Hope you're all ready. I'm just gonna get this started and guide you through everything that this game has to offer as we go along. Alright, I'm gonna start as soon as I see this, and as soon as our hero materializes from this orb, we are ready to go.
My sword!
And my sword, yes. So, welcome to First Samurai. This is a game that, well, we are playing on the SNES. And also has been released on... Oh, hold on. I'm seeing something. I think there's a scene change that needs to be done. Hold on, let me check real soon. Just gonna briefly check and then do a reset. Okay, apologies about that. I had to check and I wasn't sure if everything was ready to go, so I'm gonna check briefly and see if everything is in fact ready to go. Alright, they're telling me I'm good to go. Okay, take two. It's all good. It's a marathon. Things can happen. Anyway, yeah, First Samurai for the SNES. I'm going to show off to you right now. It's going to start as soon as I materialize from this orb right here. And that's when I gain control. Samurai side twice.
My sword!
There we go, we got our sword, let's go. So, welcome to this game for the SNES. It's a game that has been released for multiple systems, including the Commodore 64, just like one of the other games that you saw just now, and also the Amiga. So it has had a bit of history. This is closest to the Amiga version and probably the most fully realized, I guess, visually speaking, in that it has all of these crazy sound effects and, well, there's a couple of you've already heard, such as my sword and such. But there's gonna be more. But first we have to wait until this rain stops falling, because I used this bell to extinguish this fire. Otherwise we'll die. So what we do here in this game is we collect these bells and also these rune symbols, which make us able to fight bosses in each level and advance. So as we go through this level, we eventually find them. There's 5 in each level to be found. So in this case it's pretty easy because you just go along your way and it's relatively straightforward. There's going to be some differently shaped levels later on that allow for more exploration, but this is, you know, it's pretty much what it is. Alright, I picked up the spike ball. See, I told you there will be sound effects in this game. This game tells you that food is good for you because, hallelujah, right? It also says the same thing as soon as you pick up treasure, but for the speedrun we don't need to pick up any treasure. Anyway, we just hack our way through all of these walls right here. Lesser frog. Make sure to do this. Yay! Our health bar is full. So that brings us to the first boss, which is this two-headed dragon. We only have to... Well, we could focus on both heads, but we only really have to focus on one head, which is, in this case, the blue-headed dragon. And that's because I'm able to defend myself against the fire that it's spewing towards me. So that's pretty much why. So there was a cycle that I could have gotten earlier on if I did mash a little bit faster. But it's pretty difficult to get as far as I know. I've gotten it a couple of times, but this is still a pretty decent fight for what it is. Fire ships abducted by aliens? Yeah, I know, right? Alright, so now we travel into the future. We take this time express, and time travel will be a recurring thing in this game. And you wonder, well, why is there time travel in this game? Well, the narrative of this game sort of plays out a bit like Samurai Jack, except not exactly like Samurai Jack, since this existed before Samurai Jack. So we're basically seeking revenge against this demon king who has defeated the master of the samurai, and well, obviously we're not too pleased with that. So this is why we are currently on a train with the most beautiful ambient sound effects towards the future. And over here we use this bell to stop this electricity field, which makes it easier to get through, because if it's moving, then you'll take a lot more damage. And there's a rune on the other side anyway that we have to pick up. Alright, time to go further into the train, and we will be doing a little bit of a damage boost of sorts. At this point I'm usually close to losing my life, or yeah, in this case, if I lose my life, then it will be refilled with the force bar, but I will lose my sword, which will lead to this quote.
Oh no, my sword!
Which is a wonderful quote. I'm so glad that they made this game and decided to keep that in. So now we freeze this line of fire. There's no ice physics here, so that's, I guess, a pretty good thing. We can safely pick up this rune and then continue our way on to the front of this train. And now we try to use these knives to defeat all of these enemies, and that gradually rebuilds our force bar, and at some point we will be able to get our sword back, which is really nice because we sort of need that for the next boss fight. There are also a couple of other sub-weapons that you can pick up, such as these axes. I won't be picking those up necessarily, although it's still okay. The one thing I won't want to pick up is grenades in this case, because I will be able to use this later, but not right here. Okay, this almost brings us to the front of the train. One more rune symbol to pick up, and well, you'll see what's happening next. Yeah, the intro noise is an interesting one, isn't it? It sounds very Eastern to me, but there have been people wondering like if that has been reused in other games before, and I would totally believe it, but I'm not sure in which games. Anyway, this boss is a massive damage boost where I just stand in one place and just repeatedly hit my sword, and this is why it's good to have all of this health, because, you know, it takes care of things. Easy peasy. There's quite a few bosses that we will be dealing with in a certain way, although quite a lot of them will involve the use of sub-weapons, as you saw now. Oh hey, we're now in the future of Tokyo 1999. Well, what was the future back then, supposedly? And I guess it looks pretty accurate, I don't know. I mean, I've been to Tokyo before, but not in 1999, so... So this level is shaped a bit differently, like I said before. It allows for a bit more exploration, as in picking up the rune symbols in certain ways, in certain orders. But we are following the fastest route to pick up these runes. We just go into a, well, half circle, basically. Yeah, there's so many time warps. Like, we go deep into the future. Like, very, very, very deep. Okay, one thing I'm potentially afraid of is possibly picking up grenades, because I did pick up an additional set of knives, but it's quite hard to find additional knives here, so I gotta make sure to keep an eye out on what enemies are dropping. And for instance, I also gotta make sure not to pick up those grenades. So what this will do is, this will cause the ceiling to drop, and I will be picking up this rune symbol later, because there is a bell over here that I'm picking up first, and then I'm going back through this part of the sewers and pick that up. I'm taking a little bit of damage here, but that's totally fine because I won't be needing my sword for this next part. Just gotta make sure to stay safe through it all. Our samurai can climb very well too, by the way. Like, he's got some really good climbing skills. And suddenly we've got jellyfish. It's a sewer. I mean, of course there are jellyfish. Gotta make sure not to have them follow me because that can be a potential disaster. Also gotta make sure not to fall down into this fire because in this case, in this game, fire equals instant death or something resembling it. Okay, thanks to the amount of health that I do have, I am able to get through there pretty safely. Otherwise I would have chopped them away and that would have taken care of things, but... Oh, great, I picked up a grenade. I wanted to jump over this grenade, so this is gonna be fun. I wanted to do a quick kill, but I also have no idea where to find knives, so this is gonna be potentially interesting. So what you might be seeing here, if I do manage to refill my bar far enough, is ultimately a longer version of what I try to do otherwise, because grenades are not effective against this next boss. And this next boss is something with tentacles and this torso and no head. It will eventually spawn several green heads to follow me, but yeah. So now we have to take the long road here, sadly. If I had the knives, for instance, I would have been able to make this a much faster fight, but yeah. Now I have to play it safe and keep everything at a distance. Should be still fine though. I mean, we might be able to live through all of this. Gotta make sure not to fall for this boss's traps. If I had the knives, this would have been done in a matter of seconds. Like, it's ridiculous how the difference is between both of these fights. There we go. So this is pretty much what it looks like when you play it casually, this fight. Unless you figure out that knives actually really are very effective in this case. But otherwise, this is... yeah, pretty much the casual experience right here. But there we go. We've gone through it, thankfully. That was pretty clutch. Yeah, those orchestral sound effects are really nice too, I think. Like I said, there's so many good sound effects in there. It won't stop coming. Anyway, we're back into somewhere else in the future, and now we are on this time elevator. Very aptly titled. And what would have been the knives in the previous level are in fact grenades in this level, so at least I have a little bit of a buffer to get me through. Although I will be using these grenades mostly for the final boss. It's gonna pick up the bell here. Also, a thing that you notice is you see these, well, I'm not sure what to call them. Those are like electricity fields. The ones in the floor actually do damage, but the ones on the ceiling don't. So that's an interesting thing. So you don't have to worry about what's above, but you gotta make sure not to run through the ones on the ground because that's taking a lot of damage. What happened to the train? Well, I don't know. I guess sometimes the time elevator does what a train doesn't, I guess. Also, a thing that I try to do here, hopefully, is... oh, okay, never mind. I try to keep my sword so that I will be able to instantly get to the boss, because I do need my sword for the first phase of the boss fight here. There we go. Just gonna rebuild it. Shouldn't be too bad. And the spike ball that I collected in the first level helps me out too. Interesting thing is, if you don't die, it will stay with you. If you do, then you will have to do without. So it's basically an extra helper. Anyway, we did rebuild our life, so that's good. We got another food box coming up that we can use. And we need to use a bell here in order to get on top of this thing here. Otherwise we wouldn't be able to get up here. And yeah. Now we're gonna fight this supercomputer. And as you can see, it's a supercomputer because it's got like this massive tape deck. And it's got a widescreen monitor. How about that? So like I said, the first phase is basically involving me doing hits to the lower half, and then I use some grenades to deal with the upper half. So that way I'm still able to deal with things pretty quickly. Yeah, Time Elevator does what Time Train don't. Yeah, I did. Yeah, it's sort of the narrative, I guess, reminds of Samurai Jack. Although, to be honest, I have not actually seen Samurai Jack, but I have read that it involves also time travel. So there's that at least. Speaking of which, we are now in the 23rd century, and this is the Palace of the Demon King. So we are, in fact, in the last level, which is also the longest level, and there's lots of danger here. You see these orbs flying around, or satellite orbs, I'm not sure. I do try to take some of them out if I can, because they can be pretty mean in terms of dealing damage. Although some I can jump over, and that's pretty nice too, I guess. And since we have some grenades left over from the previous level, we can use them again here, since they will be effective against the enemies that we will be encountering very soon, actually. First we have to open up this part of the level. Oh gosh, yeah. They're onto me now. Also, one thing I haven't explained is, you see these pots here, those are warp pots. If I would use some of my force, I will be able to I'll be able to get sent back there if I die. And if not, then I'll get sent back all the way to the beginning of the level. And since this is a pretty long level, what I'm gonna try and do just before the boss is I'm gonna make sure to make a save so I don't have to redo the entire thing, because that will cost minutes. And well, in order to go fast, there are better ways of dealing with that, I guess. So grenades are especially effective against these creatures here. We got this nice house. Suddenly there are these killer slinkies. Never underestimate killer slinkies, by the way, just so you know. And let's enter the house. So we do a little bit of a damage boost, getting past these other slinkies. Not so bad usually. And there's this orb that we will be grabbing later on as we return there. First of all, we're gonna go down here, grab some things, amongst which the final ruin, or one of the final ruins. Yeah, I know, right? The future looks pretty cool. Although it's got these weird things with ice sticking out of walls and stuff. So there's some really interesting things going on in the future for sure. Like some really interesting ideas. There we go, some more food. There's one more bell. Okay, gotta make sure to get through here safely. Although, like I said, this is also why I have the orb. If I didn't have my sword by now, I would have been able to get it back through that, so that's pretty neat. Oh, this is... okay, this is pretty bad. I kind of have to rebuild my force bar now, because I do need my sword for the final boss fight. If I do rebuild enough force by the time I get to the next war pot, I might be saving up for that and then do take an intentional death in order to get myself up and running. So the final thing we have to do here is get up here. We use the spell to generate a set of stairs that we can climb, and that will get us to the Demon King. And by this time you will probably be very curious what this Demon King looks like. You'll be surprised. It will be an interesting design, to say for sure. Okay, I think I have enough. Okay, I'm gonna take an intentional death here, just to make sure that I'm fully refilled by the time I get there. Although I think I think I was still able to kill it thanks to that spike ball. Legendary Wing Skull, they want their eyes back. Okay, like I said, full health. That should set us up for the final boss fight, which is happening right here. This should be a little bit of a giveaway. And there we go. It's literally a head and 2 arms, I think. And it's not looking very pleased to see us. So what we have to do here, this fight consists of 2 phases, and the first involves us just hitting up with the sword. I can just keep on going with this until I've had 2 cycles of this, and then we will head to the next phase. I'll just wait down here. If I stand up, then I will take damage, so that's probably just as well that I do it this way. It's really easy to hide from the projectiles. There's always this position that you can stand in, and they'll take care of things. Oh, and now it decides to take its eyes out, and those will serve to make my life difficult as well. So, should make sure not to run into those. And now I have to hit all the way up and try to deal as many hits as possible. It's very close to time 2, which is as soon as I lose control, which is right now. And that's our revenge against Demon King. The Demon King, it has been slain. And we go back into being an orb or something, I don't know. There's some strange stuff going on here. The teabagging boss, yeah, I know, right? Rude. Anyway, warp beyond the future. A voice reaches the first samurai through the void. My pupil, your powers have grown since last we spoke. Now return to your time, and keep alive the tradition of the samurai. And so the story ends. Our master is very proud of us indeed. This is actually a pretty decent time, considering that I lost a lot of time in the 3rd level due to some grenade shenanigans and all that. But still, sub 20 time, I'll take that. So there was also a second Samurai, which was not released for the SNES, but it came out for at least, I think, the Genesis and the Amiga, and as far as I know, it was a Europe-only release. I did play that. It was a pretty interesting experience. Not quite similar to this, but still, yeah, I mean, it's worth checking out on its own. Alright, with that said, that concludes this game. I hope you enjoyed all the crazy stuff going on. It's a pretty silly game. It's also not terribly long, but I can definitely recommend picking it up. This is one of the games that I used to love to rent as a kid, and to get back to it as a speedrun was really nice. So yeah, thanks to Retrothon for allowing me to show off both of these games. I've had a blast, and yeah, good luck with the next game. I will be back on Saturday, and I will be joining a 4-way race of Back to the Future, which will be a total train wreck, so be sure to watch that. Anyway, I'm out. Thanks again, and I'll see ya. Take care.